So, it's time to get paid and your client is now ghosting you. Let's talk about it. Hey, what's going on, people? This time we're going to talk about how to get paid in ArchViz. Keep watching because I think that there might be some tips here also for you if you're a seasoned artist. Definitely if you're just starting out, I think this is an important video for you to watch. Getting paid in ArchViz can sometimes be a very challenging task, and artists do get frustrated with clients that stop answering emails, clients that ghost you, and clients that claim dissatisfaction just as an excuse to avoid paying you. Look, as an artist or designer, I believe it is your responsibility to deliver the best work possible to your clients and to ensure that their needs are heard and supported throughout the design process. And of course that their satisfaction is met to a certain extent. Okay, let me explain. You see, in the B2B world, so business to business, clients also have the responsibility to make sure that you are the right fit for a job and that what you can produce is what they need for their own business endeavors. Once your client has agreed to pay you for your services, they are obliged to compensate you upon project delivery, or at least for the time that you have spent working on that project. You see, design projects hinge heavily on collaboration, and collaboration is a shared responsibility between you and your clients. If a project doesn't succeed, the client is also accountable for that outcome, as their involvement is crucial to the success of a project. So when the client blames you for not meeting their expectations, even though you know that the project was executed correctly and that it fulfilled all their requirements, unless you know that you did a huge screw up, saying that they are not happy with your work is just a tactic that they use to renegotiate the terms of the contract, or maybe to try not to pay you at all. Now, there might be a lot of reasons why they do that. Maybe their project got cancelled, or maybe it got put on hold, or maybe they realized that the kind of work that you can deliver to them doesn't really improve the state of their own project. The bottom line is that you did work for them, and so they still have to pay you because they have made a commitment to you. Now, there are a few things that you can do if you find yourself in such a situation. As always, I'll never get tired of saying this: have a contract and a project proposal that you always send to them before starting any type of work. You should always demand a 50% deposit upfront, and if they don't want to pay it, well, then there is no work. For any smaller project, I also suggest you to get paid in full upfront before starting the project, and this might seem unthinkable for some artists, but such policies do exist across different industries and across different fields. And especially when working with remote clients, this is really the only way that you can protect your interest as a small business owner. And if you think about it, as a designer, there are many things that you have to buy and pay upfront, like, you know, computers, licenses, your Dropbox subscription. Well, you can also buy it monthly, but if you do the 1 yearly payment, you get a discount, so you get what I mean. Now, when a client becomes a returning one, of course you can ease some of these policies, but having a deposit or asking for a full payment for a smaller project up front will save you from bankruptcy. For projects that are a little bit bigger and that last longer, you can also think of structuring your payments in installments. Let me give an example. Say that you have agreed to work on a project that costs 10K, and this project, you know that it's going to last 2 to 3 months. You can ask 50% deposit up front, then 20% after the first month, and then the remaining 30% upon completion. This way you'll make sure that you always have a little bit of liquidity in the bank, so that you also don't have to wait for bigger chunks of money for a longer period. Now, what should you do if a client disappears on you? Usually the mistake that people do is to stop chasing them, and believe me, I've done that as well. Sometimes people just don't have the time to follow up on clients. People do get frustrated trying to get paid. They do get tired of sending emails over and over, and so they just give up. In a company with more employees, usually you have somebody who is in charge of sales or finance, and those people are actually tasked with following up with clients and chasing payments. But when you're on your own, this is where it gets difficult, because this is another task that you have to do and that takes time away from other things that you could be doing. Now, in this case, if the project is worth the money, you can ask a lawyer to send a letter. I often get emails from artists from India or South America that ask me what to do with the projects where the client just disappeared on them. And these projects are so small, just a few €100, that the reality is that those projects should have been paid in full upfront before starting any type of work. In such cases, you might still want to consider factoring. Factoring basically consists of selling your invoices to companies that are specialized in payment collection. This is worth for projects from around €1,000, and this is because usually what happens is that the company buys the invoice for a fraction of the price. They will pay up front for that invoice, and then they'll go and collect the payment for themselves. They of course get to keep the bigger chunk of money. If the project is a little bit bigger, then what happens is that the company will go and chase the money. When the payment is collected, they'll give you the bigger chunk of money and they'll keep a small percentage. But in no case should you pay any money to ask a factoring company to collect payment. Anyway, these companies have local agents all over the place. They will guide you through this process. Now, this brings me to the next point. You should always have late fees and interest rates stated in your contract, so that if you wait for a payment for too long, then you also have the right to charge for interests. Because effectively, when you do not get paid for a longer period of time, you're acting sort of like a free bank. You're basically giving free money to your client, and you are the one that is not getting paid. And I guess that's it. I do hope that you found this video useful. If you do, leave me a like. If you need help with scaling up your ArchViz operation, or you need help setting up any processes within your company, I can of course help. Send me a message, let's get talking. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.